Hi everybody, you got the management here, and today I'm going to be starting off with a new series looking at the quotes all throughout There's Treasure Inside. This is part 1. I'm only going to be doing 4 quotes from the dedication, the intro, and chapter 1 there's 2 quotes. So it's not going to be a terribly long video. Obviously this is going to be a mini part series, so stay tuned for the future. The first quote from Saint Augustine: "Where your pleasure is, there is your treasure. Where your treasure, there your heart. Where your heart, there your happiness." So I think you can kind of see how this is tied into There's Treasure Inside and Jon Collins-Black and why he might include this. But let's look a little bit further into who Saint Augustine was and his significance. So St. Augustine was a doctor of the Christian Church who applied philosophical thought to the Bible and shaped the practice of what is essentially applied theological analysis. He was basically the guy that retold the Bible to the everyday man in terms that people could understand and relate to. For St. Augustine, pleasure was not in and of itself a sin, but part of life and part of joy in life. Pleasure could lead to a sin if it became something that would lead to evil. Treasure for St. Augustine would have been eternal life, sacrificing your earthly goods for the good of others. I definitely see this in relation to Jon Collins-Black. He for sure has a lot of earthly goods that he's putting in these treasure chests, and he's doing it so that others can find joy in their life, so that we can enjoy the country that we live in and experience the nature that a lot of people wouldn't normally seek out to find. Heart to St. Augustine would have been more along the lines of the soul, the mind, the place where our feelings, faiths, and ideas are born rather than the physical heart that pumps blood through our chest. Happiness would have ultimately been achieved through a relationship with God and living a righteous life. Aside from those obvious connections, St. Augustine, Florida also has the historic significance of being the first colony in the Americas. Originally established by the Spanish, it has since held the title of being the longest continually inhabited city in America. Its discovery is often attributed to Christopher Columbus, but it's actually, in fact, was Pedro Menendez de Aviles, who was another Spanish explorer. Aside from being the first colony in the Americas, it is riddled with many historical landmarks. One prominent feature of St. Augustine is the Bridge of Lions that connects the mainland with the island. The bridge features 4 lion statues, 2 on each side, 2 from the original 1920 build, and then it was restored in 2015 and another 2 lions were added. The names of the 4 lions are Faithful, Firm, Peace, and Happiness. Obviously, there could be ties to the lion's shared treasure, but let's think about the historical significance of what Jon Collins-Black has made an American treasure hunt. He specifically wants it to be an American treasure hunt. So what's more important than the first place in America? Next, we have a quote from Cesare Pavese from the How to Read This Book section on page 17. It says, "The only joy in the world is to begin." Awesome. Joy quote. We know Jon Collins-Black leans heavily on joy. But what does this mean in a larger context? Cesare Pavese was an Italian writer who was silenced by post-World War II fascist censorship and started translating American literature into Italian. By doing this, he was able to share ideas of freedom, politics, and new ideas that he was unable to share in his own words. The works he translated often critique society, class struggles, industrialization, or political upheaval. The works he focused on often critique society, explore class struggles and industrialization, or explore political upheaval. His own writings, which were published in the latter part of his life, centered on themes of existentialism, alienation, love, and mythology, all tying back to a central theme of finding meaning in a hostile world. Without the ability to use his own words to express himself, he influenced his countrymen by translating works which directly opposed fascist ideology. By following Jon Collins-Black instructions to dig deeper into the people, places, books, etc. that he mentions, I'm continuing to find more and more political references peppered in throughout the pages. Pavese struggled with deep depression his entire life and ultimately ended his own life. So he wasn't exactly a motivational speaker that you would find such a positive quote from. So I think the importance that Jon Collins-Black has included this is because he does want us to dig deeper. What Pavese is most well known for is his creative way of opposing an oppressive government by using the words of others instead of his own. So is that what Jon Collins-Black is doing here? He's using the words of others who use the words of others so that he can express ideas that he may not want to say straight out. I don't think this idea is lost on Jon Collins-Black, as an overarching undertone of American history continues to reveal itself throughout There's Treasure Inside. Next up, we have Miss Eleanore Roosevelt. It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. This is from chapter 1. There's 2 quotes in chapter 1, this one and then another one by Mary Oliver, which we'll get to next. Jon Collins-Black begins chapter 1 by talking about the importance of having a roadmap and a plan. Based on the level of productivity and intent Eleanore Roosevelt approached life with, I think she would agree. So as a first lady, why was Eleanore Roosevelt so important? She was the first politically significant and longest sitting first lady in U.S. history. She transformed the role from a ceremonial position into an influential political figure that actually plays a part in the U.S. government. Serving as First Lady from March 4th, 1933 to April 12th, 1945. She served as First Lady from the pits of the Great Depression through World War II. She was a huge champion of the Civil Rights Movement, getting women in the workplace and in the military in World War II, and served as the U.S. delegate for the United Nations, chairing a committee which set the global standard for human rights. This quote is from her book, You Learn by Living, 11 Keys for a More Fulfilling Life. If you've made it past the introduction, you understand that Jon Collins-Black has created this treasure hunt to bring joy and excitement and something new into people's lives and to inspire them to get out the door and go search. I think that he would definitely agree with the 11 lessons that Eleanore Roosevelt explores in this book. The ultimate message here is that a fulfilling life comes from courage, self-awareness, continuous learning, and service to others. The final quote we're going to look at today is from Mary Oliver, which isn't really a quote, but a couple of lines from a poem. I've heard this many times and I'm sure you've heard it as well, but it's, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Mary Oliver was an American poet and writer whose work was centered around the connection between human life and nature. Considered a highly accessible author, her writing was simple enough for any reading level, but still maintained a philosophical depth for those who were looking for deeper meaning and a meditative perspective. This quote is from her poem, The Summer Day, and encapsulates the importance of living fully and mindfully while celebrating the brevity and beauty of life. It's the little moments that count, right? For me, adding treasure hunting to that list is going to be a pretty fun adventure. Throughout the book, I've noticed a recurring theme where Jon Collins-Black often reflects on his own intention with his own life, what and who inspires him, and how his own life is unique based on the culmination of choices he has made over time. Here, Mary Oliver reflects on a small moment of her life in connection with another being, but also questions if this is the best way for her to spend her time, even though she is clearly fully invested in the moment. So there's a little bit of humanism there, right? Like, I am enjoying this brief moment where I am just observing nature and doing my best and taking a moment to breathe. But should I be doing more with my life? Should she be listening to how Eleanore Roosevelt says she should be living with intent? Is she living with intent by enjoying this moment, or is she wasting time? That's it for today. I hope that these quotes help you understand perspective of There's Treasure Inside a little better and where Jon Collins-Black is coming from, because everything that he did in this book was intentional. So there was a reason that he selected these quotes, and there was a message that he wanted you to get from them. And I hope this is a good top level digging into who these people were and the significance they had. And if something made your spidey senses tingle, do what Jon Collins-Black says and do some more research. Don't forget, you can always download a PDF version of this from my Gumroad. It's themanagementAT.gumroad.com. There's lots of good stuff on there. If you are new to treasure hunting, if you're just getting into the Jon Collins-Black hunt, I am as well. So there's a lot to learn out there. And I try to make it easily accessible for everybody so nobody feels like they're getting left behind. Check out my other videos as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Leave a comment. I do try to get back to everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the hunt.